What's up, guys? In today's episode, we're going to talk about what class you should pick to compete in. Every Wednesday, I post on my Instagram feed to ask me questions, and every week from now on, I'm going to take one question that I think is best and use it as a YouTube video that I'm going to post on Friday, which is today. And Joe asked a great question, which I think I really haven't talked about too much before, and here it is. It says, for a noob who hasn't competed, how do you pick what class to compete in? So Joe, thanks for your question. And that's one that I get asked privately some, but I guess I haven't made a public video, so Joe, thank you for your question. And I'll start with the guys, because obviously I'm a guy myself, and I know those classes a little bit better because I've competed in the bodybuilding class. But for the guys out there, there is physique, which is the long trunks that come down to about the knee. And they run through quarter turns. Up next, and these are all technically in different levels of muscularity and leanness. So that is the first one, and they just run through quarter turns, and that's it. So as far as posing goes, it's a little bit more simple because you only have to remember 4 poses. Up next is more or less of a new category because there was only physique and bodybuilding, and people wanted to bridge the gap. So they came up with classic physique. And classic physique is more or less the short shorts. It's more of a classic style of posing. There are a lot more poses than physique. So yes, it still is the quarter turns, but now you have a front double, a back double, a classic pose, abdominal and thigh, side chest, side tri. So it's a little bit more detailed than the physique goes. And of course, you guys know the bodybuilding category with the bodybuilding posing trunks that I wear. Obviously, it's a little bit more muscular, as crazy conditioning as you can get. There are a lot of poses that you have to remember. You know, it's not just the quarter turns, it's not just the arbitrary poses, you know, that I mentioned for classic physique. It's, you know, the front double, front lat, side chest, side tri, back double, back lat, all those, abdominal and thigh, you know, intercostals, all those kind of poses. So from that kind of perspective, it can be overwhelming to try to master every single one of those poses. Now, getting back to which category that you should choose if you are a noob, as Joe put it. And first and foremost, yes, you do have to look at your physique and see where you would fit best in. You know, if you're someone who, for example, has a great chest, abs, and shoulders, and tiny legs, you might fit best in physique, because that's where you're going to do the best. But if you're somebody like myself, who has, you know, not the greatest chest, not the best abs, and decent shoulders, I probably wouldn't do too well in physique, to be honest. I go in bodybuilding because, for a couple reasons, but because my legs are a dominant body part of mine, because that helps me win shows, is to be able to show off my legs and my glutes. But if you're someone that has small legs or, you know, a bad body part, and you can cover them up in a class, by all means, go ahead and do it. But that doesn't mean that you should continue to let your legs slack, because then you could eventually build up to a classic physique or a bodybuilding category. But most importantly, what I recommend for people that are getting started in physique sports is find which class you are most comfortable in. So that's going to be for the ladies and for the guys as well. But for the guys especially, you know, if you like the typical bodybuilding poses and you're comfortable with wearing those trunks, go for it. And yes, it can be daunting to go ahead and get in, you know, the posing trunks for the first time. I remember when I was 19 years old and I competed for the first time, and I got mine in the mail, and I was like, holy shit, I have to wear these? And then I got backstage and everybody was wearing them, and I felt completely normal. And now looking back, those first trunks were like granny panties compared to the ones that I wear now, which is essentially very, very skimpy. But I'm comfortable in that. I'm comfortable with the posing. And that's what you have to be best with, because if you're uncomfortable on stage, it's going to show to the judges. You know, for me, if I were to try to hit physique poses, while I can hit them in a quick video like this, I would look awkward, I would feel awkward on stage, and that's why I prefer to do the bodybuilding class. So that's what you have to remember when you do pick a class, is you have to be comfortable with the posing, you have to be comfortable with the posing suits, but you have to be also take in consideration, you know, your personal physique. Now for the ladies, I know my audience may not be a ton of women out there, but we're going to go over the ladies. It's going to be very, very similar. Now for the ladies out there, there's 2, maybe 3 categories. Unfortunately, women's bodybuilding has not that many competitors in it. So if you want to include that one, that might be 4 categories. I wish women's bodybuilding would be bigger, but it's just not as popular right now. So there is bikini, there is figure, there's physique, and there is women's bodybuilding. So bikini obviously is a little bit, it's a more of a fit look. It's a somewhat softer look in certain organizations, but bikini is so fickle. It is so fickle. The rules are not very clear cut because they want you to be muscular but not too muscular. They want you to be lean but not too lean. They want you to have some separation but not too much separation. And it's just like, phew. So bikini is more of not clear-cut guidelines, so don't be frustrated if you hear many different things from many different people. Now figure is the next step up, and that is more shapely. So we want to have, you know, big delts, small waist, and X frame, if you will. Definitely leaner than bikini and more muscular than bikini, but not extremely peeled. The peeled categories come into when you get into women's physique and women's bodybuilding. So just like physique was in the male category, women's physique is kind of the in-between between figure and bodybuilding. And women's physique, they want you to be pretty lean, they want you to be muscular, they want you to be you know, pretty well conditioned all over, but they don't want you to be huge. Women's bodybuilding, however, they want you to be as big and lean and mean as possible. Now, I will say this, between women's physique and women's bodybuilding and classic physique and bodybuilding, in natural bodybuilding, those classes, they might as well be the same. And I'll be here to say it because they have so much overlap. Any natural physique competitor, classic physique competitor, is going to be a natural bodybuilder. It's essentially just put on different trunks. So once again, the body types are going to be very similar. It's just which suits are you more comfortable wearing for the guys. For the ladies, you wear this exact same thing that you do in physique and bodybuilding essentially, minus like the back straps, how they cross your back. That's pretty much, I think, how only it distinguishes. So at the end of the day, guys, you have to decide what class your physique fits best in. And don't be afraid to jump into multiple classes to test the waters. And I'll finish with that because some organizations do allow crossovers. And especially if you're a first-time competitor, go for it. You know, compete in bodybuilding, compete in classic physique, compete in, you know, classic bodybuilding and open bodybuilding. Just do it all and see which one you like the best. And then the next time you go around, maybe you figure out what class that you enjoy or which class that your physique looks better in compared to the others. So don't feel like you have to be set in stone because you compete in one class in one show and that's the one that you have to compete in for the rest of your career. So that's it, guys, for today's video. Joe, thanks again for another question. And if you guys want to submit your questions, make sure to watch out for Wednesdays about midday when I post up that on my Instagram so your video can be in next week Friday's fan submissions. All right, guys, thanks for your support and I'll see you soon.